Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
Call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. on January 18th, 2022 at the Town Hall upstairs. Need a motion to adopt the agenda. We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we have the minutes of January 3rd. Do you have any additions or corrections to these minutes? If there are none, I'm going to make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of approving the minutes of January 3rd, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, good. Okay, Tim, you're on now. So you and Fred can have your discussion. Hi, Fred.
Good evening. How are you?
Good.
I'll let Fred go ahead.
Okay, so
So-
you want to just start, Fred, or how do you want to handle it, Tim?
Well,
Okay. Then go ahead, you got the floor.
okay. Do you want me to just do a quick overview and then open up for questions?
Whatever you think is better.
Sure, I can do that for you. And you can hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, as you're aware, the financial statements are yours. What our job is to provide a report on the financial statements. And because this is an audit that's done in accordance with government auditing standards, which are actually more rigorous than just standards that are done for commercial business, we also have to include a report on compliance with laws and regulations and internal control. And that report appears at the end of the audit. So the opinion on the financial statement is on page 2. And as in the past, the only qualification we have is that both the library and the cemetery funds, I believe, the trustee of public funds, keep their investments at market value. And that's not in accordance with modified cash, but it probably gives you a better picture of where you stand. But we at least have to tell you about that. So rather than being at what they paid for them, they're being shown at what they were worth at June 30th. And as we know, the market can be volatile, so it's changed since then, up and down each day. But that's what it was as of that day. However, your general fund and capital projects funds don't hold those kinds of investments, so we give you a clean, unmodified opinion. You're following all the standards for modified cash basis for your general fund and your capital projects fund. Exhibit A is a really condensed, combined balance sheet of all of your funds combined. And what it shows is that at the end of the year, you had 731,000 about of unrestricted net position. That's down a little bit from last year. It was 832,000. But the ones we really look at start on page 6, the fund statements. So the most important fund is the general fund. The major funds you have are your general fund, your capital projects fund, where you put money aside for reserve, your library, which really keeps their own books, but we audit them as well since they're legally part of the town. And then same with the trustee of public funds, who keep their own books, but we audit that as well. So your general fund at the end of the year had a total fund balance of 522,601. It's down about 101,000 from last year, and we'll see why. That's mainly because you used a lot of reserves. You did paving, you did some appraisal work, you just used up a lot of the reserves that you had from a year ago. It still leaves you 47,000 of restricted, 106,000 of committed money, 52,000 of assigned money, and 315,902 of us unassigned. So even though the fund balance in total went down by 100,000, your unassigned went up from about 190 last year to about 315. And again, it's because you had money in those other categories last year, quite a bit of money in your restricted, your committed, and your assigned fund balances. So you just simply worked on and did a lot of projects during the year that you had raised the tax money in prior years, but completed them this year. And so that brought your overall fund balance down, but left you with more unrestricted money, unassigned money than you had the year ago. It basically, you put less money into your reserves than you took out this year, because you spent it quite a bit, and we can see that when we do the budget report. When we look at that 315, that's about 27% of your budget, at least the 2001 budget, 21 budget. That's about 97 days of spending. Your taxes first come in on August 15th, so that's about 46 days of spending. So you're in good shape in terms of cash flow. That will give you and the taxpayers some flexibility in terms of what you need to put aside for more reserves, what you need to keep on hand for a reasonable fund balance for cash flow. So you're in good shape moving forward. And I know you're already halfway through this year, so you know that number's obviously changed in the 6 months we're in. I don't want to move from this far without talking a little bit about ARPA. I know your plans were to do I think the elevator and some work upstairs in the town hall, I guess where you are now, looking where I am. There's a new rule that I'm not sure you're aware, and Bill, maybe you are aware, that passed just a couple of weeks ago that said basically any community that gets less than $10 million in ARPA funds can consider that all lost revenue without doing any calculations at all, and can spend it on any general governmental activity. So basically, the feds are now saying that anybody who has less than 10 million, it's basically free money. So it's giving you incredible flexibility to do what you and the community wants to do with it. So it's fine to do what you're doing, but you don't necessarily need to do that. And the only reason you may want to choose the option of the lost revenue and then freeing up the money is that if you're spending your own money on the projects, you don't have to worry about federal procurement standards, federal contract standards, all those things that may or may not kick in depending on the level of purchasing you're doing when you do some work that's more construction related. So, and I'd be happy to talk about that bill later if he's not, but that's pretty new. We're just learning about that. I listened to a webinar this week, and VLCT is getting up to speed on that as well. But it really, for Vermont communities, the only community in Vermont that gets more than 10 million is Burlington. So for everybody else, it gives all the towns incredible flexibility in terms of being able to use the ARPA money that's come in already in the next batch that I guess will be coming in July or August, the county money that you'll be getting. So I just wanted to mention that before we move on. Page 8 is your budget actual statement, and it runs on for about 7 pages. If you look on page 9, you're going to see that in total, about halfway down the page, you took in about $225,000 more than you budgeted. Most of those are grants, Better Back Roads, ARPA grants, there's a transportation grant. So a lot of that is grant money coming in that wasn't anticipated. If we jump to page 14, you'll see that you, again, intended to spend exactly what you took in, the $1,179,000, but you spent $1.5 million. So again, a lot of that is that grant spending, but some of that is the money we talked about that was in reserves. So a good example is on page 13. You're going to see you budgeted $105,000. I'm near the bottom on page 13 for retreatment, but you spent $261,000. That 156 that's over budget came out of the reserves, those committed and restricted fund balances from the prior year. So you had plenty of money to do it. but it's why your unrestricted went up, even though your total went down, because you're spending money that you had set aside for certain things in this year. The next few pages are basically your fiduciary funds, the private purpose trust funds, and there's a list of those in the back. It's the Jones, the Grafton, the Campbell, the Wilson, the Baker, and the Edward Walker funds. The new fund you'll see is on page 16. So in the past, we never showed your education money that you handled. It just never showed up in your report at all. It kind of came in and went out. What the standard said is that municipalities are handling a lot of money and it's not showing up. So they're going to add this new fund, this education custodial fund. It still nets to zero, but at least it shows the amount of money that has to be dealt with by your treasurer and your staff. So it shows that there's another $2+ million that went through your accounts that wasn't yours, but that you were responsible for handling, collecting, and remitting to the state and the school district. Starting on page 17, there's 19 or 20 pages of explanatory notes. All those reserves we talked about, there's still balances forward, even though you used a lot of them. Those show up on page 26 and 27. So there's still money there that's set aside for Walker Bridge, for retreatment, for other capital projects. And then finally going in the back, as I mentioned, there's a detailed schedules of your trust funds, your private purpose funds on page 36 and 37. And then finally on page 38 and 9 is the report on compliance with laws and regulations and internal control. And what that says is that we had no findings, no compliance issues, no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies. And we only had one recommendation, and that's probably being looked at right now or in process. And that's to perform a fraud risk assessment, which is really just a brainstorming session where you document those things where it's possible town could be at risk and what you've done to mitigate those risks. Things like fictitious vendors, IT kind of things. So that's just a process of sitting down and doing that. But in terms of your general overall controls, we had no findings, no concerns, and no issues. So that's a lot of information. I don't know if there's any specific or general questions I can answer for you.
Fred, I have one when it came to the ARPA funds. Now with this new standing, do we still have to keep the funds separate in a separate account?
You do. However, and I've talked to Nemrick about this, and I've talked to Katie Buckley, it may be as simple as a one-line journal entry where you transfer it to the fund where you're spending. So it could literally be, you'd have that fund where you put the money in, and it might be, depending on what you guys use it for, it could be as simple as a one-line transfer to the general fund for the whole thing. And then you never have to think about it again. There will be reporting in April, but the reporting in April is a one line that you'll fill out, and it's just called general governmental activities. Now, the only things it can't be spent on are debt service, funding a pension, which you don't have your own pension, so you're okay there, and building a rainy day fund. But as long as you're operating kind of things, and that's everything, public safety, highway, really everything, as long as those dollars you can show exceed what you took in, then that's the only proof you need to show you spent it.
Can we use it on structures?
On what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
On structures, culverts?
Culverts.
You can use it on but if you do, then you need to make sure you comply with any procurement or contract provisions.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, we always do that.
But yes, it can be used for virtually anything other than those three exceptions.
And if we just set it aside and create interest, we get to keep the interest. Is there a deadline as to when we have to use it?
The deadline hasn't changed. It's still, I think it's still like 2026.
2026, okay.
Yeah, that hasn't changed. And if you want to do other things, which you still can, they've broadened some of the allowability of some of the other categories as well. So they're trying to make it easier to use. I think, and they're not saying this, but if the infrastructure bill ever passes, there might be some matching requirements. I think they're trying to make this money available for towns to use if they need to match the infrastructure money when and if that passes. I mean, there's no guarantee on that, but obviously that's still high on the president's agenda to get that passed. I don't know if that'll happen, but that's what I've heard why they're making this so loose at this point, just to give you guys more flexibility.
And Fred, this is Suzanne. It applies to the full amount of ARPA funding that the town is receiving, not just the second tranche that comes in July.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
The new rule applies to all the ARPA funding that the town
Yes.
receives, not just the second tranche that comes in July.
Yes, this covers the first tranche that you received as well as the second that you will. Yes, yes. There'll be only one grant document, one set of assurances that you will sign, and that covers both sets of money. And the rules will apply to both sets of money. Yes. I don't know if there's any other.
Chair, I think that before we conclude, we should say, recognize the fact that Kim has once again led the financial process for the town to such a successful conclusion and Fred is not prepared to such a successful conclusion as to not have any issues whatsoever, Kim, in call to the town's attention. So congratulations.
Saying it was teamwork. We all did it. And thank you, Fred.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Fred.
All right. Anything else? Good. All right. Take
Yeah,
care.
I'm gonna get back to you on that, those new regs.
Sounds good.
That new
Anytime.
rule. Okay.
Yep. Give me-
Yeah, thank
yep.
you.
All right. Good
Thanks,
night.
Fred.
Kim, do you have anything else?
No.
You have no other? Okay.
Um,
Bill, you wanna do the highway, because
I
Danny's
do.
not here today?
Danny won't be here, but he asked me to do this report for him. There was a complaint of graffiti on the sign, on one of the street signs on North Orchard, and so they took care of that, cleaned it up. The Bassett reporting, they came and did an audit of him for compliance with Bassett regulations for the garage, and he has a couple things that need to be done. One of them is the fire alarm. I'm playing tag with Countryside for both the fire alarm inspection there and here. I thought I was gonna get it done today, but the lady had her week off, so I missed her this week, so I'll talk to her on Monday. And we need to do a HAS communication plan. Not sure exactly what that is, but there was an example of it, and I can check with Springfield to get that done and help Danny write that. Both 10-wheelers, they had tailgate issues. They did repairs of the tailgates. They worked on plow blades, changing blades on the plow blades. The manhole cover down here, details has been welded shut and will be fixed correctly when weather permits. The bill will be sent to detail, as they said in their email, and they will pay the cost of welding it shut. If you didn't know what the problem was, the truck picks it up. It's about 300 pounds, throws it down the road, leaves a big hole there for somebody to run into. If somebody was walking down the road with their dog, and they were and they have 350-pound steel metal plate hit them, they probably killed everything. And it was a big, huge issue, and V-Trans promised they'd fix it last summer. And
No, VTEL.
VTEL's promised, and they didn't do a thing. So anyway, it's now welded shut. They cut some brush. With regard to the flags up there, you need two 36-inch tubs.
Right, and I'm gonna do it tomorrow, I have a note in my thing.
Okay, and everything else, they did all the plowing for the snow, everything's good. The little truck has a periodic service on the front end. that's being in there, and while it's in, there's a small oil leak that they'll take care of at the same time, and it's in the shop down at Rockingham. That's it for highway.
Did they fix the fan in the garage?
No, that hasn't, as far as I know, that hasn't been done. That's something I have to look into, Kathy, thank you.
Mr. Danny's not here, we can't ask anything else, so we'll have to accept it as a report. Town meeting, Ken, this is yours now.
Well, the bill has been signed, Bill 172 was signed, today, and, it gives you the alternative to decide what we want to do for town meeting as a legislative board. Would you like to, hold it in personally? Do you want to delay it to another date and time? Or do you want to just have everything by Australian ballot? We have the ability to make that
I'd
decision.
just like to share with the board, I did get a communication from Dave Ross, and he urged that, that the select board does not hold an in-person meeting this year. He was concerned about the age of the town and various other things, and I said, I have nothing to do with it. I said, I personally agree with you, Dave, but the board will decide that tonight. So he is a candidate to do what we did last year, do everything by Australia now. So,
And
Bill?
Can I ask about in-person, put it in later in the year?
well, we have that option, Kathy, as I was talking to Kim this morning, this afternoon. We can postpone the meeting if you want to, but then there's no guarantee that things are gonna clear up. So if you postpone it a month, and it's, then you still end up perhaps with an Australian ballot thing again. I mean, there's no guarantee that it's gonna be better.
And one of the things of postponing it this summer, they're taking a chance that all budgets are gonna pass. If the budgets do not pass, you go back to the drawing board, and then you reschedule everything with the 30 and all of that. So it's happened once before, that a budget hasn't passed in the town, and it's happened to the school, and they go back to the drawing board, and then you go back to another meeting, and you hope, and you've got such a timeline, because then you have to set a tax rate come spring for our bills in July. I mean, it's definitely doable, and some of the towns are postponing theirs until April or May to have them outdoors.
Oh.
Or a drive up.
That's a thought.
My thought, and I have to agree with Joe, and I did agree with, Dave when he was in, I've been saying it from the beginning, I just think we have the small group that does attend our town meeting are usually the retired as it is, because a lot of the workers are working, and that's the most vulnerable group. I would just hate to think that I was part of a group that held a meeting and someone got hurt. But if I had to, I would. I would still hold the Australian election all day long here, and I wanted to do it upstairs. And that's of course with the BCA's a blessing, because I have to go through the BCA so they can pronounce where we're gonna have it. And I would make accommodations downstairs for anyone who wanted to vote downstairs and not come up the stairs at this point. But I'm comfortable with that. It's a huge area to set up 2 booths, and people are only here minutes. We're behind shields. We're very safe.
And I can, Kathy, I was on the board, I think John was on the board too, when they cut the select budget, I think 50,000 that one year. And, it was a nightmare. And so I would not want to postpone the meeting. I think we just get it over with, because, it just, if it does get, if we do have an issue, now we're into May and we're having budget meetings, we've got to figure it out, and let's just get it over with. And and believe me, it was not an easy thing to find 50 grand.
so would the process be then, if we decide not to postpone and have a vote by Australian ballot only, would the process be that we would have a virtual pre-town meeting, and then on March 1st, we'd have the Australian voting here, downstairs for those who didn't want to climb the stairs, or they could have an absentee ballot for the usual absentee ballot process.
Right, right, because we'd already decided that we're not going to send to every registered voter. But we will send to anybody who requests an absentee or early voting coming into the office or voting on that day.
Suzanne, it'll be just like we did last year.
Yep, same as last year.
Exactly as last year.
And pre-town meeting would be, virtual. And we're
If we hold
prepared.
it, I'm sorry. If we hold it regularly, is there any provisions to also have it on Zoom for the people that wanna?
For,
How,
for pre-town,
hey, how about the regular town meeting?
if we were to have it, you can't do a floor vote through Zoom.
Right,
So you're still limiting.
they can participate in the sense of catching up on, if they want to actually.
On the top, yes, on the discussion of the article. But that's.
But remember, they have that opportunity at pre-town.
Yeah,
They have the same opportunity at pre-town as they do at town meeting, except they can't vote at town meeting. I mean, they can ask all the questions. I think if I remember correctly, we all took a certain aspect of the warning and we asked if anybody had any questions, we broke it up that way. And then that would be the same way we did it. I would hope that we would do the same way this year.
I might be in the minority, but I'm optimistic we're in the last throes of this thing, and let's move forward and get back to normal. But I might be in the minority.
Can I interrupt a second? Can I take care of my whole excess weight permit, because I skipped that for the Newport Sand.
Yeah, as soon as we get done with this bill.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to forget that.
So
But
do we need a motion?
we need a motion to,
Okay, it's a little more complicated than that, okay?
Okay.
Because you guys, instead of going down the list, you went, okay? So the first thing you have to decide is whether or not you're gonna have a real town meeting or you're gonna do it by Australian ballot.
that's what I'm saying.
That's one question, okay? Then you gotta decide at that town meeting, the next thing is the warning, which you guys have all seen. And we have the warning all done except for the school portion of it, which we don't know if the school will be part of it until they pass a budget, if I'm correct. And then, shall the article be voted by Australian ballot on the floor? That's a motion. And then finally, decision on the pre-town meeting, shall it be held on the 24th?
Right.
And shall it be here? You don't have to designate a place anymore, but you could designate this as a physical place of it, just, and run it just like we do now with many people as they want. You know, virtually, including all of you. We don't have to have anybody there, okay? But I would be here.
How did you come up with the date of the 24th?
Because it has to be between two dates.
Before.
And I think it's the 18th to the 28th.
Yeah, no more than 10 days before the actual meeting, and 10 day, and anything less than that will fall on a weekend. And historically, we've always done it on the 24th, the 23rd, which is a Wednesday, is when the Union High School has their vote, their pre-town meeting then.
And we have a select board meeting the day before.
Because the 22nd is
Right.
President's
It's
Day,
holiday, so
Tuesday is select
it
board,
only-
Wednesday is the high school.
It only meets Thursday or Friday.
I think that.
Well, whatever Monday, and then
President's Day
Tuesday.
is the 21st.
Yep, and then the.
And then, so I'm wondering, could we schedule the pre-town meeting on the 22nd?
There was a
The
reason.
20, we usually have the pre-town meeting, I believe, on either Monday or,
It's,
last year was on a Monday.
No, pre-town meeting is whenever.
Yeah, there was pre-town meeting last year, because I checked it, Bill, it was,
But it can be anywhere between the 18th and the 28th.
okay.
The problem is, we didn't want to run into other meetings. You're gonna have a meeting on the 22nd.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You're gonna have a meeting on the 22nd.
select board.
Okay.
School's on the 23rd, so.
I knew there was a reason we didn't want Tuesday either.
Thursday, yeah, Thursday's
Yeah.
Thursday's a bit of an issue for Kathy and me. We have a previous engagement, and also for the community, Thursdays are usually a time when people go out. So,
Well, that's what-
we were just trying to maximize the opportunity for people to come to the pre-town meeting. Would there be a possibility of starting that meeting at 5:30 instead of 6 on the 24th?
Yeah.
I mean, that would help us a lot with our commitment.
It's not 5 o'clock though, I think.
Well, the problem is now, okay, that's all well and good. I think you should do it then Friday, if you're not gonna do it then. Start it at 6, because people won't be off work. You're gonna cut all the people that are working. If they wanna be at pre-town meeting, and it's the only time they're gonna be able to discuss the articles.
Well, I'm not so sure you're gonna get this.
I don't
People
think-
usually join us too, and
I don't think you'll get
you're gonna
anybody.
join on a
Well, last
Friday.
year we had hardly anybody.
I know, and you can start it
We had
at,
10 people.
But we did have the school,
Yeah,
because the school is typically also that Thursday.
but we didn't go to school last year.
Yeah, they virtually,
yeah,
That's virtually, yeah,
They-
no.
right, because on Wednesday they have their meeting and then they
Right,
explain
yeah.
what their articles are
Right.
on Thursday.
But, yeah,
Because don't you usually do those with the school?
Right,
Are we usually
Yeah,
combine
five.
it with the school?
sometimes.
we're hoping to this year. We'll find out by Thursday. Once they get their articles done.
in which case they would be wanting to present on pre-town meeting.
Right, which would be which we don't know.
So, whatever day you guys want.
I think that Friday would be a problem, to be honest. I think that, what we're trying to figure out is a compromise, because, Kathy and I have a commitment at 7. If we start at 6, we won't be finished by 7, I don't think. And, but it would certainly not be my goal to reduce the number of people who would attend by those who are working and wouldn't have time to get to the virtual meeting. Do we really lose that many people if we start at 5:30, or do most people get out at 5 and would be?
I think it'd be fine.
I think,
think it's
I think 5:30
5:30
would be fine.
Now, Bill, from a process standpoint, are you suggesting we need 4
Yes.
motions?
Yeah.
Well, could you just help me understand then the difference? I think I know it, but I just don't understand the way it's written. It says, shall the town meeting be held virtually? And then it says, shall all articles be voted by Australian ballot?
Right.
Aren't we saying
The same.
really that all articles will be voted by Australian ballot? We're not going to have a virtual town meeting on March 1st, are we?
Yeah, but we vote all the elections are always by Australian ballot. The town meeting is never by Australian ballot. So there are two issues there, isn't there?
This,
So you would just make the motion that you're not going to have a physical town meeting and all articles shall be voted by Australian ballot.
I would make that motion.
Okay, but let's back up. Let's do the date first.
no, let's take it one at a time.
Okay.
I'll second.
Wait, Suzanne,
What Kim said.
no town meeting, no actual town meeting,
No, in person.
no in-person. Meeting, vote by Australian ballot, vote all
All
articles and all articles.
All articles.
What about the offices?
They're always Australian anyway, so
Yeah.
whether or not you want to include that, that's fine too, but they're always, we're getting a special permission to do articles.
Okay. And second by,
John. Okay, so any other discussion on the motion as presented?
And throw a date in there for,
For what?
no, not now.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
I'm opposed.
okay. So it's 3-1, 4-1.
okay, then you need to vote on the articles.
What about the date? Anyone do that?
Yeah, I was gonna.
Either one, you can do,
Let's do
either
the
one.
date.
Okay. Date
Do
of
you want to make that
pre-town.
motion, Suzanne, because you want to do it at 5:30 on the 4/24?
I wanted the date within the motion of no in-person town meeting on the Australian ballot by voting on March 1st, 2022.
Oh, okay, I'm
That's
sorry.
what I meant by date, not pre-town.
Oh,
I just think that
yeah,
that should
thank you,
be
Kim.
included in the
That's a
motion.
good, that's a good point.
Okay, yeah, so the first and second, accept that, Suzanne and John, to put it right in that same motion.
Okay. You have the objection, John, you want a second?
Okay, then revote that motion.
Okay, so now we're voting for the same motion except we're adding March first to do it to it.
Thank you.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Are you opposed to it?
Say no
Okay, so it's three,
and 3 to 2.
for the no virtual meeting and 2 against.
No in person.
Yeah, no person.
Okay,
Do the post. Because I said I agreed with,
and then the other thing, you have to prove the Australian ballot and set a time for the pre-town meeting. The articles, you have to prove the articles, I should say.
Okay, everybody has seen the article, correct?
The warrant.
And everybody understands the articles as presented, okay? So, yeah, okay. So let's make a motion that, to approve the articles and the pre-town meeting on February 24th at 5:30, I guess, here, virtually. Bill, is that how you want to do it?
I'd like to,
Yeah.
at 24th at time,
5:30? Yeah, 5:30, 5:30?
you want to do it 5?
I think you'd be out of here in a half an hour anyway.
yeah, 5 would be good.
Good.
Oh, can you make it though?
I may not be in town that week, but that's fine. I'm February vacation that week.
Right, well, is that February vacation for me?
But I can attend virtually, it's not a big deal.
I'm fine with a 5:30 compromise. If we
I'm
think that will help people who work attend the pre-town meeting. I'm fine with 5 o'clock if you think that would not be harmful, whichever.
Okay. So the motion is going to be that we're going to have the pre-town meeting here. We're approving the articles, right?
Well, let's,
We need to discuss that.
we're gonna discuss the articles, ask for questions, go through them one at a time.
Well, that's why I asked. Let's do the articles if you need me. Go ahead.
Well, that's kind of what I was asking you guys have all the warnings in the articles. I wanted to make sure you understood the selectmen's budget and how you get to what it is.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it, but if we do, let's discuss it. The articles and the budget.
Actually, I forgot to bring my articles up and put them back downstairs. Do you have the articles with you then? You have to sign it.
Huh?
Laptop.
No, I don't.
They have to sign it.
Well, the problem with the articles is that we don't know that they are the articles, that was the other point, is the articles as they agree with, for the town, they're right. But the warning is not correct, if the school board's gonna be there.
Yeah, you can wait on that.
No, we can't.
Oh, you can.
So, but we want them to approve the articles themselves. I can go get them.
No, they have to approve the warning. Which the articles are the warning, and then they have to sign.
But if we have to change the warning to include the school, isn't that a different warning?
It would be a different warning.
But the articles wouldn't change. Can't they just approve the articles?
They can. Do you have to have all of it approved at once in a public meeting?
If we do, then we need to have another meeting.
Oh, what's this?
No, we do, because we won't know what the school's doing until tomorrow night, right?
Great.
So does that blow up the timeline?
Not if you guys have a special meeting.
The thing is, we don't have a say. We would just insert it into our warning.
So we just
Because
need,
they approve their own article.
okay, we need to do our article. Okay, let me go get them.
Yeah, and then we would just insert theirs into it.
I'm sorry, did I miss something in email? I don't remember receiving articles.
didn't see that.
You didn't get the warning?
I thought you were referring to this document that you handed out.
That is
This is
covered with the warning. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But are you referring to the written articles as they appear in the town report?
Yes, like,
I, for one, have not seen those,
No, I didn't.
and I don't think that's.
Right.
I've seen them, but I don't have a copy.
I haven't,
Okay,
I
Bill's gonna
remember
get
that
us
coming through.
copies, and that's kind of what I wanted to make sure that.
So I just
Since
assumed
you're
everybody saw
voting-
them.
This article shall we vote for $236,000 for the selectmen's budget. I wanted you guys to know how you got the
Yeah, okay.
236.
This one.
Got it, right, and that's what this
I
is.
just assumed it.
And this is very,
That's not working out like
I
that.
just assumed, Tim, that when you had the discussion with the select board individually about the situation of surplus and where it's gonna be allocated, that everybody got that.
Yeah, well, Bill created it and then is supposed to send it out and then everybody discussed it and then they pass it.
right, we need to have it, even though.
No, I understand that, but I took my copy home that day when we met.
Did he have it written in there for the, what to do with the surplus? And all?
Yeah, remember you and I talked about that. Yeah,
Because I've got a copy to go in the town report.
yeah, I don't have my copy, I don't know what happened to it, but I had it home, I know.
And I do realize the school has to, and it says right now, town of Grafton, and typically it's town of Grafton School District. But they were up in the air whether we were going to have a meeting or not with them. Which we can change the title, but it's the article, I just wanted to make sure you're okay with it.
Who has the cemetery deeds?
I do.
Can we do that now while Bill's fussing around?
Yeah, and I don't think there's any motions. Yeah, I got those for Kathy, I got 2 deeds.
Rich, I agree with you that this whole virus thing is about finished.
I hope so.
We're all gonna get it in some form or another, I believe, and it's all gonna go away, but the real problem is if it doesn't, then then you're stuck with it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Believe me, I don't like, I would much rather have a town meeting.
Yep,
Personally. But, I'm just, I think me personally, and I talked to David about it too, and Kim and I talked about it, is that you just don't know. It might go away, but maybe something else happens, and then what do you do then?
yeah, I, no,
Well, they say this variant right now is, I hate to say the word good, but
You got that Walter one that I heard in my phone? Yeah, I have a note, expecting them to check out this week. Joan, I bought I painted, so we have to find out who wants to contribute to the Walters then. If anybody wants to, participate for the person in the plot. Oh, Joan, I got that the deed is to Walter,
Yeah.
so I paid for it, but if anybody wants to contribute,
You've got the video.
it's right there, now, so just sign. But, and I paid for it. So if anybody wants to contribute, they should come.
to her?
No,
No. Well, I have a couple of times.
right, so we can come, another in the morning or something.
Have you ever seen that?
no, I
I
don't.
don't think I've seen this one in
Only
email
one showed
for
me.
this page.
I thought I'd go to you before.
Okay.
The only articles that you're really gonna be concerned about is Article 9, 10, and 11. No, 9 and 10. But all the rest is all budgetary items.
As long as everybody understands each article. And how we can talk about it.
Well, I mean, that's the same every year, I mean, just about.
I think a lot of it too makes me really nervous that everybody, just to rely just that I came up with these numbers and I wanna make sure you guys all understand how we got to them, so it's not just me.
And, Kim, could you please share with us, how the Article 14, the 2,037 dollars was arrived at for CVIDs? I know it's based on a per capita. What was the amount and how many, times how many people?
That's when they did their presentation and I don't even.
Yeah, we improved
It was
that.
like-
I don't have that.
No, we didn't.
It's based on a higher number than we generally use for our population, but I think they use 675, but it's their numbers.
I don't recall, did we have a motion and approve this?
Yes.
I don't recall that.
Well, I think.
No,
Oh, no, we didn't approve it.
No,
We
no,
approved
this
the
is-
thing on the warrant.
this is what they're requesting.
Yeah,
You can either put it in the warning or completely keep it out of the warning. Same with all the articles, these are your
Okay,
articles.
that's what I thought. So I think that, this is the second or third year in a row that they have multiplied their per capita amount by 675, which is from the 2010 census. I think that's old data. And I think we should lower that amount for them. I would suggest a 1,900.
I would have to.
It's very, very questionable, the kind of service. It's minimally confusing, the level of service that CVID provides to our local organizations. They claim that 12 organizations benefited from their counseling with respect to PPP funding. I got in touch with 8 out of 12. 1 out of 8 said that it was good support. The others couldn't even remember having CVIDs help them. CVID subsequently came back and countered some of those claims, so that's why I'm saying minimally it's confusing, but it just means that we rubber stamp over $2,000 for this organization every year, and I don't see the value
but
return.
just remember, we're not approving this.
I
The
understand
board
that.
approved this.
My understanding from Bill is that we can have these articles say what we wish for them to
Yeah.
say. And I'm suggesting that the 2,037 is too high. I think it should be more like $1,800 or $1,900, less than 2,000.
I mean, I totally understand, I just want you to know the work that would go into just changing that one figure, changes all the articles.
Then
Because I have to redo
Yes.
all of these.
you
To come up with
say
all
the
of
magic
these.
word. I'm not gonna do anything that causes you more work for a couple $100.
I will do
I'll try to
it.
catch this in a more timely way next year.
I think we have to just leave it the way it is and let the town go.
Let the town,
Because
yeah.
that's what we voted on, way back
Right,
on.
The town did turn them down at one time,
Yeah,
I'll come
let the
forward.
town.
and they might do it again.
Yeah, I think your point is well taken, especially what drives me crazy about these things. If a representative don't show up, they give their spiel, they just ask you for the money, if someone don't show up and give their spiel, I wouldn't vote for it. I'm not saying they don't, I don't know.
Yes, we have in the past,
Yeah,
and, I know I have asked them questions, but they give you graphs and circles and numbers, and that's not what I wanted.
yeah,
No, $2,000.
I wanted face to face with the people that they're
yeah.
working with.
So I'm not saying one way or another, I say, I don't know anything about the organizations.
May I just say, they will show up pre-town meeting, I guarantee.
Yeah, they will.
Oh, yeah, they will, they have it.
And if somebody asks you at pre-town meeting, Suzanne, and you don't like the number, you can say so.
I will certainly do that, but I'd rather do that than make the change now and create more work for Kim.
Okay, so
There are higher priorities.
are we all okay with this, with the warning now?
Yeah.
All right.
So is everybody okay with Article 4 figure?
Article which?
Article 4,
well, it ticks and ties to what you have here, taxes needed for
Well, why,
I just want,
highways.
I make sure that's the exact amount that's been brought over, it's the wording is right. Same thing with Article 5.
yeah, it's 617,950, that's right.
No, you can't make any changes later on,
Exactly.
the wages or benefits or anything like that, so if you vote this,
And then Article 9 deals with the $315,902, unassigned funds. And this is just something that we kind of came up with as a proposal as to what to do with the money. And was checking for the blessing to put it on the article. We already have the reserve fund already, in play, so we would just be adding to it. Same thing with Article 10.
I guess, is there a reason why, me had told me this all along the other day. Was there a reason why more wasn't put into the bridge fund? Could you
Yeah.
not do it, or?
Because you have to, there's a fixed, there's an amount that is recommended that we have.
For unanticipated expenses of 10% of your budget, and our budget's 1.2.
Okay,
So that would give us about $150,000, and what that is for when they say unexpected, because unanticipated is, we start our budget July 1st, but we never get our first tax payment until August 15th.
got it.
We have to run a month and a half with no money's coming in.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
something happened during the month that we needed
Right,
money for, then,
that makes sense.
this is more like 12 or 13%.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. The humanitarians, we did have one humanitarian, drop out. I think it was for $106 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were no longer needing of the funds, so they asked us to take them out of humanitarians. Capital budget's in there. And it's same quarterly and then the same percentage. So these will have their own, this would have their own warnings, their own voting page with yes or no after them. And then I'll have officers.
so if everybody's satisfied, we can finish this motion on the articles and the, pre-town meeting, time and place.
So I think I might just not be seeing this right, Kim. So you say that select board itemized budget's 418,958. And then are you taking into consideration the 182,710?
Yep, you subtract.
And then that's how the net is 236, 248.
Because we know we're gonna go.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding that.
So what you guys would do probably, I think, Bill, is approve the articles, but everybody's probably gonna have to come in and sign the warning with me, as long as you're gonna take into school.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're not gonna sign this tonight.
No, you,
probably not signed tonight, but accept the articles as they are. And then in the school, we'll insert as the new title, and then we'll be able to come in and stop in the office and sign, because I have to record it.
the changes would be in the first two paragraphs, it'll talk about the school, not just the town. And then there'll be an article for the town, for the school budget.
Right.
Or two, I have no idea how they're gonna do that. So whatever they have for their school budget, then will be additional articles. The warning otherwise, the articles that you approve tonight will be the articles that are used in the warning, yes.
Okay, so then we need to approve the warning tonight now.
No, the articles.
The articles, I'm sorry, and then, with the pre-town meeting date and time, correct?
With the understanding that if the school does join it, then there'll be there'll be a separate warning, including these articles that you will sign at a later date, yes.
Okay, so could we write that, can you put that motion, write it down?
Well, the motion is to approve the article
Right,
and approve the pre-town meeting on the 24th at 5:30
correct,
p.m.
yeah, okay. So somebody want to make that motion?
Sure. So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, okay. Do we have any discussion? Any questions about it? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have no opposition, okay. So you've got your approval. Okay, with the understanding now that when we get the school thing, the board's gonna have to stop by and sign this one,
If you get it.
if you get it. If not, then we have this mistake.
They're meeting by Zoom tomorrow at 1 o'clock. There's an agenda downstairs on the board that I just got from Nicole. So they are having their board meeting to go over their article and their warning, and then we'll pass it to me probably late tomorrow afternoon, early Thursday morning for Bill to go ahead and work on. But if anybody wants to join, it's 1 o'clock on Zoom.
Why is
So
it
that-
11:01?
This is kind of what rush getting, Bell, the Union High School just had theirs today at 1 o'clock also, because with what's happening at the union level, with their audit and all, everything's kind of been put a little bit back, and we weren't sure if they could even join in with us. And so now they're rushing to join in with us, so they don't have to hold their own meeting, which is really good.
Okay, so now we need to have a motion to go into executive session.
No,
Oh, why?
I want you to approve my excess weight for
Oh, you're right,
Carroll Concrete, which is the same as Newport.
okay.
Okay, I got all the paperwork on that.
All right, so what is it again? What's the,
It's an excess weight
no,
permit.
no, no, what's the company?
It's for Newport Sand and Gravel, which is also Carroll Concrete.
Okay, all right, okay. Somebody make a motion to approve,
Oh, wait, oh.
second?
Second.
Any other discussion on the overweight permit? If
Assuming
not,
you didn't, oh, sorry.
okay. You have discussion?
Assuming you didn't invent that, Danny told you that.
Pardon me? No, this comes to me. The fees here, the insurance is here, and all the.
Oh, okay, understood.
Okay.
And then we voted at the beginning of the term that Bill has the authority to sign.
Got it.
So all in favor, say aye.
And who moved?
Kathy, no,
I did.
Kathy seconded.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Need to come out of executive.
Okay, so we need a motion to come out of the executive session at, I have 7:57.
Okay.
That good enough?
Yeah.
So after the discussion, of executive session, the board agreed that the personnel committee would review the, personnel policy, period.
Could we add to it that we bring it back to the select board at the next meeting?
Well, yes, I mean, why don't we just say the next, bring it back, we don't know what,
Okay, that sounds fine.
why push ourselves to
Yeah.
one meeting? Okay, here we go, committee reports. There's nothing new on the cemetery, right, John? We're waiting for him.
We've heard back from him in the meetings, more time.
Right, but we said,
He also has a friend of
Right.
his that's interested in the place next
didn't
door.
we talk about that last meeting, though? No? I think we did. Anyway,
No news since last month.
yeah, really, no, okay. Highway, anything? Highway? No? Okay. The parks, logging has started. It started today, I think. So that's ongoing now. So takes care of that. Now we got the personnel committee.
I think we just addressed number one in our motion coming out of executive session.
Okay,
Report on the employee evaluations. We spoke to Bill about what this needs to entail, and it's just a report back that all the employee evaluations have been done, they've been signed, they're in the file. And I encourage you to take a look at it if you'd like. The job descriptions, Bill, did you and Danny have a chance to get together and come up with a proposal for how to work together on the grants?
Those job descriptions that you sent out are the job descriptions after he and I got. So that
We
is,
didn't make any adjustments to them, based on just the specifics of the grants?
he read what you had there and he was happy with that for his description. He read what was in mine and he was happy with what was in mine. And I agree that his is fine and mine is fine.
Okay. So, I guess Kathy and I put forward the job descriptions. We sent them out in email. Bill copied them for you here tonight. Do you want to adopt them the way they are,
for
the
the
way you
road foreman,
receive them?
the road foreman and the town administrator only, right? Because we haven't discussed the other ones.
We sent out the assistant road foreman.
Right, but we haven't formally discussed it.
We're happy to do that now if you'd like.
But we can approve both the road foreman and the town administrator now.
Okay.
And I shared with Mike and Dave their job descriptions, and they were fine with it. They didn't add anything or delete anything.
Before we do anything, the assistant of, weren't we supposed to meet with Mike?
I did.
We did make them mine.
Well, I thought the board was supposed to be, or you was just you?
Oh, Kathy and I understood that it was the personnel committee was gonna meet with Mike.
So the personnel, and did we have suggestions?
Yes, those are incorporated in his, in the draft of the assistant road foreman.
So what we read, what we were presented, when we read here, he's agreed to this.
Yes. I mean, if you're concerned about it, we can take it back to him one
No,
more.
I just thought the whole board was supposed to, as long as you.
And that would be fine too. If we
No.
misunderstood, John, we can certainly ask Mike to come in.
No, you two did, it's fine.
Yeah, no, we did it.
Just as long as you met with it, that's all I was concerned.
Yeah, you could see there the changes we made. The first one was in,
That's
June.
fine, I'm
Okay,
happy with it.
okay, good.
Okay. And the labor and the equipment truck operator, which is.
Yeah,
You met with Dave and he's all happy with this too?
yeah, we met with Dave, we met with Mike, we met with Danny, we went over all of this, we met with, Bill. This was all part of the.
Does anybody have any, Rich or John, have any concerns? I read the thing and to me, you know, if they approved it, then it's okay by me.
Okay, if you approve it, what I can do is go back and create a copy that doesn't have all the, markup.
Well, Bill can create that. Bill will do it and put it in the.
All I want to know is, I don't see any reason for continuing to discuss this thing.
No.
Are these
Yeah.
the five that you want to adopt?
That's what I thought.
These three are new, these
Right.
three are new, and these two are the same ones you did adopt,
Right,
right? You
yeah.
didn't change them,
Right.
okay? So if you just
No, I
adopt
don't
these,
think we've adopted any of them yet, Bill.
I don't think we adopted yours. but
No, we
made
haven't
the change,
adopted
but we
any
didn't
of them
officially
yet.
adopt it, I think.
Because they're all in draft form, so we didn't adopt any of them yet. We need to
No, we
adopt all of
discussed
them
that meeting
tonight.
on your job description and Danny's. We made the change, they're here,
Mhm.
but they haven't been officially adopted.
Correct.
So we need to have now adopt all these job descriptions if that's
Yes,
what we want. We can only, we need to adopt the foreman and the town administrator, but that's already been, we made those changes. Question is, do you want to adopt the other three?
I'm fine with that, I'll I read through them the other
Okay,
day.
so somebody make a motion to adopt the new job descriptions.
I don't think we've adopted any of them.
No, make a motion to adopt all the job descriptions. Okay?
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? Okay, so all in favor of adopting the job description as presented tonight, say aye.
Right?
Opposed? Okay. Good done.
Okay, then I asked Suzanne if you would then hit the review button, make them all final and send those to me, please.
I'd be happy to do
And
that.
I want them in Word form. Okay.
Okay, and then let's see what's next. So the annual employee evaluation form, as Bill sent out, is the normal one, the traditional one. This is the once per year, look back at the year and evaluate performance. This
Okay.
is the form we're gonna use for that. It's the traditional one. Does this need to be approved again, Joe? So this
It's approved.
Bill, would you like for this one to be approved for the record?
Nothing has ever been approved. We made that really clear last time.
Okay, so let's
So if
approve
you
it.
want these evaluations, and we don't want to have any
Okay.
fight over whether they're approved,
Okay.
I think you need
Make
to.
a motion. Somebody make a motion that we approve the approved evaluation.
The unapproved.
Right, okay,
Okay,
Second,
okay. I don't, there's no discussion, everybody happy with it? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's adopted, Bill. Now we
Now,
have this
the
one
new
here.
form is for the purpose of setting goals for the year and giving periodic feedback. So what this would entail is that each employee, and they have done this, but of course this will need to be approved if we go forward with it. In a meeting with the personnel committee, we talk about what their goals are for the year. They set those goals, we agree to them, and then on a periodic basis, perhaps quarterly, perhaps more frequently than that, we give them feedback and we record the feedback. Then there are also places, if there's any comments to be made on a periodic basis about teamwork, about open communication, the opportunity to do that is when we sit down with each employee on a periodic basis and give them feedback. And so this would be the form that we would use for that purpose.
and those that we interviewed liked both of those forms, and they matched nicely, so.
Okay, so somebody make a motion?
Oh, to approve, well,
This one.
didn't we just, oh, that one.
Yeah, it just works for the personnel committee. I'm fine.
Yeah, so if you like it, make the motion.
Oh,
Second,
Okay, any other discussion? If not, all in favor of, what are we gonna call this, the,
this is called the employee annual goal setting and periodic feedback.
okay. So all in favor of approving that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, good.
That's it?
That's it, right?
Yep,
Okay.
thank you.
Buildings and grounds, I guess everything is proceeding, right, Bill? The same thing?
Yeah, there's nothing new from,
Elevators and,
last time. If he's on schedule, he would start, the heat pumps, soon, maybe even, later this week or next week, but he hasn't told me that.
okay. The wastewater, finally, I think, we'll know tomorrow, if we got the revised, agreement and contracts and everything else that, for us to take a look at. And, Bill and I worked, last week with Lynette and with, Aaron. And, so we're just waiting for Lynette to send us her final blessing on the contract. So, and that's where we're going from. So, and then we'll be discussing that next time. So, as soon as we get it. Any other business? Do we have any public comment? Anybody have public comment? Okay. The next regular meeting, is Monday, February 7th, here at 6 PM. Motion to adjourn, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Hope not.